One. Good evening and welcome to Animazing Radio here on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. I'm your host, Doug Inkler. Joining me, as always, in the co-host seats are our good friends, Miss Angela Rose
Hello.
and Mr. Darren Starling.
Yellow.
We want to remind everybody that Animazing Radio is brought to you tonight by Home Circle Media. For the latest and greatest in anime gear, everything from pens, pencils, stationery, and officially licensed art books, be sure to check out homecirclemedia.com today or look for them at an upcoming convention near you. We're also brought to you tonight by Casey Fox. For all of your artwork, commission, and cosplay needs, be sure to check out Casey Fox. That's KAYCIFOXX on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. We're also brought to you by Darren.
Yep. If you're down in the Raleigh area, which I know most of you aren't, but if you know someone in the Raleigh area and that needs their yard tended to, send them my way.
Just look up Triple S Lawn Care.
Yep. And look for the one with the green stripes and the blue truck.
We're also proud to be partnered with W Energy Drinks. W has a wonderful energy powder. I partnered with them a few weeks ago. That's what's in the cup. I actually forgot my shaker at work on Friday night, like an idiot. So I have the W in the cup instead of in the shaker. But I have still been drinking it. And I did get my second coffee this weekend since I started with the W. But it's good to treat yourself every now and then. The W actually has really helped me out. Helps keep me energized, keeps my mental focus, especially with so much going on. But tonight we're going to have a fun show. I wanted to do a little bit of look back since we switched over to YouTube about a lot of the changes that have come with the show. Some of the highlights that we've had. Of course, Angela joined us last year, and it's been a big asset to the show since she's joined us. Also, Darren did something he normally doesn't do. He went to a convention. So we're going to have Darren give us a review of Animazement that went on down in North Carolina this weekend. Also, we've got some big news that we are proud to finally be able to announce, which will come a little bit later in the show. But first, Darren, why don't you tell us about how Animazement went for you?
Yeah, so first convention since 2019. I think the last convention I went to was Raleigh SuperCon. And then, of course, 2020 happened. 2021, the public restrictions were lifted like literally the week before the convention by the governor. So Animazement did not happen in 2020 or 21. Last year in 22, they had limited attendance because only those who had their shots or had negative tests were allowed into the convention center, and that was a Raleigh Convention Center rule per se, and they didn't really have much control over that. So this year, everything was back to normal. Masks were optional, and well, for anyone that's been going to a convention for years, masks have always kind of been. Ross, what do you mean by that?
You going to a convention.
But anyway.
Now Ross is distracting you.
I see that. And I blame you because I don't normally have comments pulled up on my screen because I have to do my stuff on a tablet. And it also seems like StreamYard has fixed their whole fading out without touching the screen. I hope.
That happened once for me, not since, and I have different issues when I'm trying to do StreamYard on my phone.
But anyway, so masks were optional this year, and of course, anyone that's been going to a convention long enough knows that masks have always kind of been a staple in the convention scene anyway. I know the hentai masks, the uwu masks, and other various stuff, not for health reasons, just for looks, have always been um, kind of a theme there for the past couple of years pre-COVID. So anyway,
Plus, the masks were also part of Japanese culture and mainstream. For anybody that was feeling ill, they would wear a mask out of courtesy of other people.
yep. So anyway, Animazement is something that always takes place Memorial Weekend. The unofficial official start is always on a Thursday. The pre-con, as they call it, and they have stuff ranging from like 7 o'clock to 11 o'clock, I think, and then followed by Saturday and Friday, which are 9:30 in the morning to 1 and 2 a.m. in the morning on both days. And then Sunday is 9:30 to 4 o'clock in the afternoon, 5 o'clock, and when they have closing ceremonies and kick everybody out. So I missed the first couple hours on Friday and Saturday just because of being tired from actually getting all of my work done a day early this week. So I could go uninhibited. So they had several voice actors there this year. They had Christina Kelly. They had Brent April, who we've had on before. They had Danny Chambers, also had her on. They had Caitlin Glass. They had Rico Fajardo and Aaron Thompson. And I want to say they had, no, that was it. And then they actually had quite a few Japanese guests. Like during the closing ceremonies, like probably 15 of the seats up there were all Japanese guests. Um, when y'all go to y'all's conventions up north, how many Japanese guests do y'all have on average that you'd say?
Pre-COVID, Anime Boston would bring in like 5 or 6. Since COVID, I think they brought in like 3 total in 2 years.
I was going to say, and this year's Japanese guest was a manga artist. Because I actually did the press interview with that. And it was all done through a translator.
Well, we definitely had a translator for this, but if you give me just a moment, I can pull up the guest list.
Oh.
But we had a lot of Japanese industry people this year. There's one that literally comes every year. I don't know if y'all are familiar with Rakugo, the art of Japanese storytelling. But he has been, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he's been coming to the convention probably past 10, 15 years or more. So he's become a staple in the...
Ross wants to know how your anxiety was when you went to the convention.
What's anxiety?
Fair enough.
Yeah, so, I don't have any of that stuff.
We know a lot of people do, especially in the otaku world. And Ross, I know you said that you suffer from it extremely at some points in the past with comments throughout the show. And I know it can be difficult to go to these events, especially if you have high anxiety and things of that nature. But I think it's also good practice to get out, within your personal limits, not forcing yourself to be uncomfortable, but to be able to push yourself to, get comfortable to go to these events, and be able to enjoy them more and more, as opposed to, just being uncomfortable the entire time you're there.
On a similar vein, question for you: Did Animazement have a quiet room that some of the cons up here have, where people can basically go and sit if they get if they get too overwhelmed by the noise and sounds and the crowds.
I think we did. I don't remember off the top of my head, but I want to say we did. Let's see, on the lower level, there was karaoke, there was the prop check room, and then I think they had a kids room, and then there's another room. I want to say we did.
That's where Darren hung out the whole time, was in the kids' room.
Pretty much. No, but yeah. And let's see, who else do they have this year? Okay, so for the musical entertainment this year, have y'all ever heard of a band called Rookies is Punk?
I have not.
No.
Okay, they did the opening theme for Durarara, and went on to have songs featured in the anime series Bleach and Blue Exorcist.
Have not seen any of those shows, so that would explain why I haven't heard of them.
It is entirely possible that when I let Spotify go through, because I have a lot of Japanese artists I follow, so it's entirely possible that it's come up on my playlist, or on my Spotify, but no guarantees.
And they also did Yowamushi Pedal in 2013. Let's see. But wow, they have performed for their fans over 100 times in a single year.
That's a lot of performances.
That's one every 3.5 days, roughly.
Yeah.
They basically spent most of the year on tour.
Pretty much. But let's see. Aside from them, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 other people from Japan. And those are just individuals, not groups.
That's cool.
Wow.
The Jackables has been a returning performance for years. They also had this group called Skip Beat Crew. Double Dutch unit who have won world championships in double Dutch and jump rope competitions. And the Jackables are a samurai actor unit that perform on stage, TV, and in dramas in Japan. And they've been coming, like I said, for the past, I want to say 10 years.
Nice.
And then, let's see, as far as the industry goes, let's see.
Industry guests on the website here. It's showing Kazushige Yusa, Hiroshi Nagahama, Koji Nagai, animator supporters, and Jez Roth.
And Koji Nagai has produced many musical, informational, animated works for TV, such as Ace Attorney, Space Brothers, Magic Kaito, the Kindaichi Case Files, Yasahime, Princess Half Demon. He's also helping produce My Hero Season 6. And he's also going to be the chief producer for Case Closed this June.
That's cool.
So quite the reputation there. And let's see, Hiroshi Nagahama is an animator and director. He started at Madhouse. He is currently working on Uzumaki. And director. He worked on Mushishi, Detroit Metal City, and The Flowers of Evil as a director. In 2017, he did his first original anime, The Reflection, a collaboration with Stan Lee. And 11th Animation Kobe Individual Award in 2006. He is currently working on Uzumaki. And let's see. Kazushige Yusa is a 2D and 3D animation writer, director, and illustrator. He worked on Urusei Yatsura Touch. He also worked on short films such as NHK's Okasan de Isha, Ina Ina Ba, Pythagoras Switch. And he teaches elementary and middle school.
That's kind of neat.
And also participates in educational exchanges with France, Canada, and Singapore.
So how did it feel getting back to the convention for the first time since 2019? Was it weird to be back, or were you just like, man, I missed this?
It was a combination of both. Yes, I missed it. Also, I'm really missed a lot of the cosplay. I will say this: I don't know what the attendance ratio of cosplay versus non-cosplay at some of y'all's conventions up there, but this year I felt like there was just cosplay everywhere. Like it made me almost really want to start cosplaying next year just because the ratio was like 85, maybe 90, 10 on Saturday, with the amount of cosplayers to non-cosplayers. And today it was more like maybe 70-30, and Friday was like 80-20.
That means we got to get you that Crim outfit.
You know, there were a lot of angels from Chainsaw Man. I probably saw at least 6 or 8 angels, and I saw quite a few Denjis, but there was only 1 or 2 that actually had the Chainsaw Man, the actual chainsaw helmet. They didn't have, like, most all the Chainsaw Man characters were either Power, Makima, or help me here. What are the other characters?
I have never seen Chainsaw Man, so that's a question for Angela.
Denji, Makima, Power. Those are the big those 3. Angel. Oh. What the heck? I can't think of the other female's name for the life of me.
Wait, what kills me is that Kobani. Anyway, she was fairly fairly popular, and of course there was a couple Pochita. Another surprisingly popular cosplay was Jabami Yumiko, and one of the girls from the series, I forget her name, the one that was always sucking on a lollipop and had that orange orange covering on her, the kind of like Umaru.
Was that still from Chainsaw Man or a different show?
No, that was from Kakegurui, the gambling anime.
The gambling anime, that's been around. That's another one that's I've seen a fair amount of cosplay from it recently.
Yep. And to my surprise, I didn't see a single Comey cosplay. But I saw a crap ton of Chainsaw Man. I saw a bunch of Demon Slayer. There wasn't as much My Hero this year. There was a lot of One Piece. And there was actually a resurgence in Soul Eater cosplays.
That's one of those shows that just never dies. Like you see, you constantly will see cosplay everywhere.
Although the amount you see comes like rises
it
and
comes
falls.
in waves.
Yeah.
But it's got some good staying power.
Yep. I didn't see that many Madokas this year because one year it's like that's all we saw was Madoka Magica.
So how much Genshin did you see?
And that's where Doug had to come on pre-show to show me because I don't follow Genshin, so I don't know. There was a fair amount, I'd say. Not overly saturated, but there was a fair amount.
See,
up here we have a rule. If we see a cosplay and we don't know what it's from, it's probably from Genshin.
At PAX East, a few before COVID, the general rule was if I didn't recognize it, 80 to 90%, it was League of Legends. Post COVID, that has become Genshin.
Okay. Let's see. There was quite a few Anya Forgers. There was a couple of yours. There wasn't really a whole lot of Lloyds.
You normally don't see many people dressed as Lloyd.
At Anime Boston, I saw more Lloyds than I did yours.
Oh, there was Anya's everywhere.
Well, yeah.
Well, yeah, everybody loves Anya.
And then, of course, there was a couple of Nezuko's.
Marins, he said.
I literally only saw 2 Marins the whole time I was there. One of them was standard Marin, which I couldn't get a picture of. And then the other one, I couldn't get a picture of either. She was in the first cosplay that he did for her. So the blacked out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good too. I'm waiting for the Animazement group I'm in to start posting pictures because literally they have not posted hardly anything this year. Oh, and that was the other thing. Normally there is a corporate sponsor of some kind at the convention every single year, be it Aniplex, Crunchyroll, Funimation, Sentai, somebody. There was nobody this year. There was not a single corporation there this year.
That's weird.
Yeah.
And which is funny because Aniplex used to always have something to do with the convention in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah. And they don't even, like, I'm trying to look through Animazement's website to see if they had like a list of all the exhibitors and dealers room and stuff, and they don't even have that on their website.
They do.
Do they?
Yeah. 2023 dealer room applicant.
They had applicants, they had wait room.
Dealer's registration. A downloadable PDF of the dealer's room map with pricing can be found here. Booth specification, badges, da-da-da-da-da. Hold on.
But it didn't say list of vendors. Usually cons will put a vendors list so that they can promote those who are selling.
Well, I have the guide, so that definitely has all of them. How many of y'all's conventions, sorry, switching gears here, have maid cafes?
Anime Boston had one.
Anime Boston's had one. Bakuretsu-con has had one. AAC has had one.
Okay.
Puchi-con has had one.
Okay, switch it up. How many of y'all have had butler cafes?
I don't think any that I've been to.
I've not seen one, but that's not really my thing either. So
Well, they switched it up this year. They had the Maid Cafe for most of the day, and then they switched it to the Butler Cafe like halfway through yesterday, I want to say.
That's pretty cool, though.
and
hello
Ross,
to everybody out there in the chat. Hello to HH, Ross, and Sharka. Thank you guys so much for tuning in.
Ross is saying, "Hey Darren, did you mean Runa Yamazuki from Kakegurui? Yeah,
Kakegurui.
Probably. It's been about a year. It's been a couple of years since I watched Kakegurui. So, and yes, that sounds right.
Now, you were telling us beforehand that you spent a little bit of money at the con, which is easy to do.
Yep, and I might actually turn my camera on and show you
the rare camera view from Darren.
Yep, and one of these I know I paid too much for. Y'all can roast me later. And there's also one, surprisingly, I bought by accident, but oh well, screw it. I thought it from far off, it looked like a different character, and it wasn't until I got home and really started looking at the box that I realized it was not the character I thought it was. But I did watch that series, so oh well. Why not?
And then Darren was gracious enough to get me an autograph from our friend Bryn April, who was a guest at the convention. And Darren got to experience what I've experienced in the past of meeting a voice actor who's excited to meet you as you are to meet them.
Hi, Mario. Good to see you.
And hello to everybody who's tuning in on the app after the fact. You know, we love the fact that you guys will tune in on all of the apps which you can find Anime-Zing Radio. And but you were gonna say, Darren, talking about getting to meet some of the voice actors.
Yep. I have to say Danny and Bryn we've had on the show before, so they vaguely knew who I was. They definitely knew who Doug was. So that was pretty cool, and they were both open to coming back on at some point. Of course, just scheduling permitted. And let's see. And then I threw a couple things out there to some of the others that were there. Unfortunately, Aaron Roberts jetted before I could ask him, and Rico Fajardo was almost never at his table, so could not ask him either.
But that is okay.
Yep, because we have other ways of going about that.
Yep.
Because we're good like that.
Oh, trust me, the list of people I would love to get on the show is always growing.
Never shrinking.
No.
We could have a guest every night of the week, and I don't think the list would ever shrink.
It's just about like adding an anime. If you were to watch an anime series a day, every single day of the week, 365 days a year, would you still catch up? Probably not.
There's so much anime and not enough time in a day.
Yep.
I have to ask this real quick to the chat. Who was it that recommended the Cafe Terrace anime? Somebody was talking about that last week.
It was probably Roth, and that's something that's on my list that I may actually have some time to start this week before I go back to work.
Ross says it was him. Damn you, Ross! I went and checked it out, and I can see what you mean by the scent fetish by the one character there. It's a little bit on the weird side, but I also found the fan service anime of the season. Good God. They didn't even get 10 minutes into that first episode, and every girl was in bra, panties, or naked.
I have to say, when was the last anime we had like that? It's been a while.
It has been a while.
Anyway, so turning my camera on for the first time in God knows how long. Purchase number 1 is another figure. And care to take a guess of who it is, Doug?
Comey?
Nope. It's from a series we've watched, though, both of us. Angela hasn't seen it.
HH says Peter Grill.
No. It's a series that Yami was in.
Oh, from To Love Ru.
Yep.
So you wouldn't go after Lala from that. Was it Momo the one that you liked?
I love Momo, but there's a close second in there, too.
Haruna?
No.
I give up because I can't think of any other. Oh, okay. Yui Kotagawa.
Yep. Yep. I ended up getting her. They actually had her discounted like 3 times. So I was like, you know what? Why not? I like Yui. The fact that it's discounted, and I looked at the retail price, and it wasn't that far off from retail price. I was like, forget it. Why not?
And Ross in the chat says last fan service anime was Love Flops.
Not Rinai Bokun. Love Flop.
That's what Ross is saying.
Yeah, it's Rinai Flops. I remember. It's the one where the guy has five girls.
Yeah, I know that one. I couldn't even finish it. It just got stupid.
It was interesting to say the least, but oh well. Anyway, up next is the figure I bought without realizing who it was, because from a distance it looked like Rika from Chunibuyo, but it was not. I forget her name, but she's from Is the Order a Rabbit?
Oh, okay. You liked that. You liked that series anyway.
Yeah, I did. I hadn't seen season 2 or 3, but when it originally came out, it was a cute series about a girl that got a job in a coffee shop with another girl who has a little rabbit that's supposedly her grandfather, but named Tippy, and he's the mascot for the restaurant. Anyway, and lastly, figure-wise, I got an obvious one.
You found a Zenobia?
No, there's only 2 versions of Zenobia to exist, and I have one of them.
Okay, Nagatoro.
No, I did not see a single Nagatoro cosplay this year either. I didn't even see any figures of her.
And Ross says, Darren, the girl's name is Rise.
It's who?
Rise?
Thank you. Oh, Rize?
Rize, I'm sorry. R-I-Z-E. Rize.
Yeah. But no, lastly, it's obvious. You know who it is.
Nightmare?
No, if it's not Zenobia, it's...
The other one.
Irina? No.
What's her name?
Oh, come on. It's Rias.
Of course.
There was another Rias figure there, but guess how much they wanted for it?
I'm going to guess 350.
You are dead close, 335. And the retail on it was like 120. So quite a significant markup there.
Yeah.
This one was priced more accordingly, and that's the one I got from our friends at Otaku Joe's.
Yeah, Joe's usually pretty good with his pricing.
Yep. So that's it for figure. I also got something interesting for the fact that the guy literally caught me looking at it, was like, "Hey, I'll sell this to you for $10." And I was like, okay. So I waited and waited and waited and went back on the last day. And I was like, "Hey, your offer still stand?" He's like, "Yeah, why not?" So I'm going to try and find a place to hang this in my room. But it's a character I don't normally own much stuff of, but the fact that she even has merchandise is quite surprising.
And what show is it from?
Also DXD. Of the main girls, who gets probably the least representation out of the bunch?
Asya?
Yep.
Oh, that's cool. That's actually really nice.
Yeah, I thought it was official merch, but it is not. It is a wall banner. You can actually put this on a pole. I don't know if you can see the little tabs sticking out from the side. But yeah, I've definitely got. I mean, for $10, I was like, "Hey, what's $10?"
Because I know I saw some wall scrolls at Anime Boston at Black Knight had that were going for like $75-$80 because they were direct imports from Japan, of Marin and her various cosplays.
There were other ones, yeah, because I remember we were looking at those, and I remember saying that depending on the price, I was gonna get them for you guys, and then saw the price and went, I can't justify spending that much.
Yeah.
And then I did end up with another wall scroll from an anime that has not been seen in quite a while. And this is Sentai Filmworks merch. So this is the licensing company's wall scroll. So whoops, I forgot those little black pieces where you hang them up from are commonly packed with these things.
that Dakimakura cover that you saw, I believe that was Nagatoro.
You'd be correct.
He said, really cute. And Ross says, the worst thing about DXD, I have a hard time finding Irina items, best girl, then Ravel, then Konako.
Ravel and Konako, yes. Well, I have to say, Ross, as you probably remember, I do own one of Kaneko's figures.
Good evening, John. I hope you're having a wonderful weekend, and happy Memorial Day to everyone out there. Big thank you to all the troops who have supported the U.S. As we celebrate Memorial Day weekend here. And yes, happy birthday, John. I hope that you had a wonderful birthday yesterday. I remember you telling us that last week that yesterday was your birthday, so definitely hope that you had a wonderful day, and thank you so much for spending time hanging out with us again tonight.
Yep. But yes, Ross, I do have one of Kaneko's figures that I bought out, I think in 2018 or 2019, I don't remember. But also had to get this wall scroll for the simple fact you don't really hear much about this anime anymore. Well, actually, aside from being called High School DxD's ripoff, that's probably about the only time you heard about it.
What is that? I don't even recognize the characters. Oh, so I can't play H. I have not seen that one.
Yep. And of course, everyone always calls Lazara Rias's ripoff, just like they call Mio, and understandably so, but Lazara is flat as a board. But she is adorable.
It's all about the plot.
Yep.
Right, Ange?
Sure.
I almost got you.
I'm just gonna, yep.
Oh, come on, Ange. But anyway, I definitely need to find a place in my room to hang some of this stuff because, unfortunately, some of it has been sitting in my closet for a while ever since I moved into this house.
And Ross says the idol cowgirl in that show is best girl, in his opinion.
No, disagree with you there, sir. Lazara is the best.
And then, you had gone to you get other purchases. I also know that you went to a few panels.
Yeah, I'd say I did get a couple other things. Surprisingly, like I said, I splurged a little bit this year. Well, especially because I haven't been in 4 years. So I probably spent just a smidge over $500 or $600 in the dealer room this year.
Sounds like me at Kineticon on autographs. Well, I'm glad but sad that I can't make Kineticon this year. It falls like the weekend before we're supposed to be moving. It's like I cannot responsibly go to that.
Oh, come on, Doug.
Well, I'll also be traveling back from Georgia after 3 weeks of training. So.
Yep. Well, I'm just giving you crap.
Oh, I know. Plus, I don't want to hit you up for another loan.
Yeah, because I charge ridiculous interest. Right?
Yeah, those anime figures just they're breaking the bank.
Oh, understandably so. And really quickly, I did get two. I finally got two other pieces to put on display more. I really need to find more sweatshirts with anime on it, but that is very hard. Most everything with anime on it is a t-shirt.
In this country.
But anyway, I ended up getting one from Food Wars.
Nice.
And then one from Slime.
Of course.
Yep.
Now that was one of the things purchased in London was a Bleach hoodie.
Oh, wow. And you see, that's the other thing. Some of the ones that did have sweatshirts were all mainstream, like Naruto, Bleach, Dragon Ball, that kind of thing. It's hard finding hoodies that have some of the newer or lesser known anime on them.
That's fair. I mean, yeah, My Hero is newer, but it's also arguably way too mainstream.
At least you admit it.
Hey, just because I enjoy it doesn't mean I don't know what it is.
And just because I say a show's overrated doesn't mean it's bad.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, do you want me? Well, I'll go through the panels and then I'll do the. I did get a mystery bag from a table.
Okay.
Excellent.
So you can do that a little bit later, but anyway.
Limited figure plus plush. 6-item grab bag.
For $50, that wasn't terrible.
Which
No.
means, depending on the plush and the figure, it's going to be worth close to double that.
And on top of that, they were $5 off because it was the last day and they were just looking to move stuff.
Hopefully you have a better figure than what I got from the $235 bags I got from AB.
Well, I'll say this, like I said before, I was going to get one of Otaku Joe's grab bags, but $70 and $110 versus this sounded more reasonable to me.
Oh yeah.
On top of
everything else that you spent.
Pretty much. And like I was saying before air, I don't know. At y'all's conventions, I know about you two, but to any of the people that go to conventions in the chat, how are they on sales tax? I know it depends on the state they're in, but have y'all ever been charged sales tax for admittance? Because that was something new that we faced this year, like when purchasing the actual badges at the door.
And Ross, the body pillow is Nagatoro. Darren has showed that off a couple of times.
Yep. Well, I have to
One
say
of
I can show all 4 of them if you want me to.
As long as they're as long as they're appropriate.
Oh, they are.
I'm sure you have some that are not as appropriate.
Yeah, that's one of them if I flip it over to the right side.
Also, want to remind everybody that coming up in a little bit, we do have a announcement to make. Something that we've been working on behind the scenes has truly come to fruition. So you definitely want to stay tuned for that because it is a big announcement and may get some of you to wanting to come up to Vermont for Rail City.
Oh, and ironically, Doug, one of the characters that I was talking about earlier is actually currently present.
Yeah?
Yep. All right, people.
To answer your question, Ross in the chat says, I don't think sales tax added, but he won't have Comic-Con until September.
Also, Ross, is that a con that you purchased tickets ahead of time or at the door? Because I think that also can make a difference.
But anyway, we have Nagatoro, Akano, and the only reason I even have Akano was because the one I originally ordered, they shipped it with the correct girl on one side and Akano on the other side. So they kind of screwed it up. And they issued me the correct one afterwards, but oh well. And then, of course, Rias, which was my first one in the mini pillow. She's not that big. And then it's Yui.
This is why Darren falls asleep during the shows, is he's surrounded by all of these.
And then, of course, Best Girl.
So anybody who ever wonders why Darren falls asleep during the show, he's surrounded by all those Dakimakras.
Yeah, I almost need a bigger bed. Oh, yeah, and this one's always keeping watch.
So one of those rare times you get to see a little bit of camera action from Darren.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of which, did you recognize that one, Doug?
Not really, but I'm drawing a blank.
Ross, help him out here.
Harry Potter? Oh no, I might skip this, but I might skip this year because a popular band is coming in August. But I might go to Comic-Con, determining on who gets added to it besides William Shatner and the woman who played Jenny Finn from Harry Potter. So Ross is going to make his determination on if he goes to the Comic-Con based on the guests.
Oh, understandable on that one.
And Darren, it's Hotaru.
It's Hotaru?
Hotaru.
Yes, from Dagashi Kashi, the candy anime.
I have not seen that, so I wouldn't have guessed that.
That's the girl that literally knows too much about candy.
And that's pretty cool, John. John Knight says that he got Speed Racer anime Blu-ray for his birthday.
Oh
You
wow!
talk about going old school with anime. I watched that before even knowing what anime was.
There you go.
That was probably the first anime I ever watched, not knowing what anime was. If I have to go back in time.
All right. So moving back on to some of the panels that were held this year, there was actually a decent amount of panels, and I went to a handful of them. Of course, the 18 plus ones filled up rather fast at night. So at least Friday night, they were really hard to get into because they would use the rooms that had seating for like 150, and that was it. And the panel lines would start filling up like 30 to 45 minutes before they actually started.
Did they have a rule that you couldn't line up before so much time before the panel?
Not really. The main thing they were concerned about was keeping the aisleways clear for fire marshal reasons.
Yeah, no, certain cons, especially with things that are large, more popular, what they anticipate to be more popular panels, there's a thing where they won't let you line up more than like an hour or two beforehand.
Well, about to say, most of us didn't line up that far ahead of time, but a lot of times 30 to 40 minutes was the average. Now, Saturday night, they did something different for the 18 plus panels for all except like one, I want to say, where they sectioned off a whole section of the building with joint rooms. It was like 301A and B, and then 302A and B, and then like 303C or something or another for the 18 plus panels. Like, I went to Aaron Thompson's. I think that's his name. Yeah, no, Aaron Roberts. Excuse me, Aaron Roberts panel. His 18 plus panel, and that was probably the least amount of people I've seen in an 18 plus panel in ever. I think he barely had 80 people in there, and they had enough room to accommodate probably 200 to 300.
Wow. And a lot of times, the voice actors, when they have their 18 plus panels, those panels are actually really good. Like, I know the Monica Rial 18 plus panel I went to was fantastic. J. Michael Tatum's 18 plus panel, in my opinion, is worth price of admission to the con.
About to say, a couple of years ago, I forget which panel we did, but I remember Lauren Landa was part of it, but there was her and like 2 or 3 other voice actors, and it was the whole room played Cards Against Humanity against each other. And of course, the voice actors and actresses were involved.
It's always fun when they participate in the big group panels and stuff like that because you don't expect it.
Yep. But yeah, they had a lot of and it's kind of funny. Aaron Roberts kind of flat out said during the panel, and this I can share because 18 plus panels with voice actors and actresses, nothing in this room leaves this room.
Yeah.
But he said that a lot of them have actually stopped doing 18 plus panels for legal reasons, XYZ, yada yada yada, but just to kind of play it safe. And he's like, I'm not one of those people, but I think this will be the last time I do this panel. And I said this last time before coming to this panel. The last time I did this panel, I said it was going to be the last time. Well, guess what? It may actually be the last time this time, or will it? You don't know.
I mean, I can understand voice actors wanting to
maintain
cover
their
their
image.
butts, covering their butts to cut down on the 18 plus stuff, or stop doing them altogether. It's sad that we live in a world where they feel that they have to do that and can't really be themselves. But it's
But yet
also
they,
refreshing to know that there are some who just don't care and are like, you know what, this is who I am. Accept me for me or get the heck out.
yep, yep. About to say, and I mean, they can't do ghost stories anymore, so they could never put on a dub like that now.
Oh, God, no. And it's funny you say that because I literally I started packing away DVDs and stuff, and Ghost Stories was one of the DVDs that I put in the tote beside me. You realize you have too many DVDs when you have a huge ass tote, and you can't fit all the DVDs in there. I'm gonna have to get a box to put the overflow. But thank you, Darren, for telling us about Animazement.
Yeah, I didn't realize I'd gone into almost the full first hour doing that. But yeah, there were a lot of there was quite a few Q&A panels with the voice actors and actresses. Danny hosted some actual good ones. She did a lot of interactive panels. She did a Jeopardy version of like Name That Tune. She would play a clip from a video game or something, and you had to name what game it was from.
Oh, that's kind of neat.
Nice.
And then the other panel she did was anime titles, real or fake.
Oh, that would be fun. That could be a game we could do here.
Basically, it was like Gigux video for light novel titles.
Yeah.
I got every single one she threw at us right except for one, and I really feel bad about it because I knew I thought I'd heard about it before. And ironically, this was in the medium category, but that was literally the only one I got wrong. And the amount of people that didn't know some of the real titles in there was kind of disappointing.
We should have her on and have her play that here with the chat.
That would be fun. Next time we have her on, that definitely sounds like a good time.
I should reach out to her. I should reach out to her about that. Maybe it could be a special.
And AJ and Ross are discussing music in the chat because
the popular band that Ross was deciding on going to see, Simple Plan or go to the Comic-Con.
And Three Doors Down apparently is a part of that.
Oh, wow.
Oh, no, it was
Simple Plan or Three Doors Down.
But yeah, so Danny did those two panels on top of her standard voice actress panels. So she was super involved in a lot of that, which was kind of refreshing to see because some voice actors and actresses, the predominant thing for them anime-wise is their work. They don't actually have time to play some of the stuff or watch some of the stuff that the rest of us do.
I know you said you went to Caitlin Glass's panel.
Yep.
Were you able to ask a question or?
Yeah, I was. And unfortunately, I didn't get to ask the question you wanted me to, because that was I would have been a repeat question, or I would have been asking a second question. But more along the lines of how she got into anime. I forget which director it was. It might have been Jerry Jewell, or one of the directors. She literally went to tour the studio per a friend inviting her there, and they happened to meet one of the directors, and she was in acting, she was in theater, and he's like, hey, can I hear you say da 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 da? And he's like, and after she was done, he's like, you want a job here? She said literally all I maybe said was 2 lines. And he goes, do you want a job?
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's amazing how they all get into the voice acting.
if we ever have her on, I'll let her tell that story, but that's just the simple version. But from there, one of her first works that I recognized her voice in was back when I was still watching dub anime was Shuffle. She did Narine, the girl that was the princess of the demons.
Yep. I was going to say the Demon King's daughter.
Yes. And she was like, wow, you were the second person to bring that show up. So it was refreshing. And then they had some other panelists there. I know some of them travel from con to con. Have you ever heard of a group called Fatal Fanatics?
I have not. I don't know if you have, Ange.
No.
And let's see, the other one was Third Impact Anime. Because I know some of these panelists go to multiple conventions throughout the year.
Yeah, I have not heard of either one of those.
But the Fatal Fanatics, they hold something every year. It's like an anime music challenge where kind of like Danny, only instead of video games, they would play the openings or endings for various anime, and then you had to name the anime, and then either name the song, name the band, and it was a fun time. I think I went to their panel 4 or 5 years ago, and they got to the bonus round, and when one of the songs came up in the bonus round, I was the only one in the whole place that even knew where it was from. So, kind of an interesting memory.
That's cool.
Out of probably like 200 people in there, maybe a little less. And then this year they did like 3 or 4 that I knew it was from. They did Promise Neverland's opening. They did Vinland Saga Season 2's opening. That was actually the very first one they did. That was the very first category picked. And let's see, what else? Of course, they did Akame ga Kill. They did High School of the Dead. They did one from Bleach. Turned out to be season 17 of Bleach, but it was still Bleach. They did Naruto. They had options for Serial Experiments Lane, but I don't think they ever played one because they basically, if you didn't know it, they would give you a 1 in 4 shot at it if you didn't know it. But all in all, it was a fun game that lasted about an hour and a half, 2 hours.
That's cool.
And then they had the 18 plus panel they had was the ABCs of hentai. And they literally went through a different genre for each letter of the alphabet.
Darren was in the corner taking notes on what to watch next.
Not really. I don't watch. Look, I may talk about it, but I don't watch hentai like that.
I know. I'm just poking fun.
Let's see what else. What other panels did I attend? They had several styles of otaku feud, kind of like a family feud style. They actually had one interesting panel where these people were actually English teachers in Japan, and they surveyed actual Japanese students for these answers. So that was interesting. They did questions like name an anime series, name what's the first thing you do in the morning after waking up, what subject do you like most in school, that kind of deal.
Well, that's cool.
And speaking of which, guess what the Japanese students' number one response was for name an anime series?
I Hate Ohio. Oh, I see the smirk from Angela.
Ay, ay, ay.
No, this one was actually surprising. In Japan, you would think it would be a long-running series that was their number one answer, but it actually wasn't. It was actually a fairly recent series.
Spy Family?
Yep. That was
Makes
their
sense,
number
though.
one answer. So that was definitely interesting.
So it sounds like you had a lot of fun getting back to Animazement after a few years away, and
It was. It was a good time. Like I said, did I get many pictures this year? No. But did I see a whole lot of cosplays that blew me away this year? Yes, but not ones that I really wanted to add to my photo collection. But it definitely motivated me to actually consider cosplaying more.
you should. It's fun. I enjoyed cosplaying when I've done it. Ange, I know you've had some fun in cosplay as well.
Yep.
You'll have a lot of memorable moments that will come depending on the characters that you choose.
Yep. Because it's still never it's still never a where was I going with this?
I have no idea where you're going.
I know, right?
Darren got sidetracked instead of dead this time.
I know, right?
Yeah, about to say I've actually taken up the first hour and some change. When was the last time that happened?
I was just messaging Angela going, I think this is the most Darren's ever talked on a show.
But
I think it's just been a long time. But yeah, there was a lot of there was a lot of panels that even if they weren't the greatest, they were entertaining, and the fact that being able to go to panels and converse with like-minded individuals or just see how big of a pervert some of them were was still interesting. And yeah, all in all, it was a decent show. They actually sold out of one-day passes on Saturday to the point they actually had to go to wristbands instead of lanyards.
Wow. So good
So,
attendance.
did they sell out to the point of turning people away because fire codes?
no, no. However, they did, like I said, all in all, they did do fairly well. I want to say, even though attendance numbers aren't going to be finalized yet, I want to say the rumor was at least 10,000. So we'll have to see. I'll definitely say on Friday it did not feel as crowded as normal. Saturday was more like a normal convention for Animazement, and Sunday was actually fairly traffic. There were still people coming in to catch the last bit of the con at like 1 and 2 o'clock, and the con officially ended at 5 once closing ceremonies were done.
That's still cool that, they had a good turnout.
Yep. I'll look forward to them actually posting the attendance numbers here soon. But all in all, and for the most part, aside from a few minor things, I really didn't see a whole lot of negative feedback this year. I didn't see a whole lot of complaining on the social media side, which was kind of nice.
Kind of refreshing when people aren't just bitching to bitch.
Yep.
Yep.
What do you think? You think we should give the big announcement now and let everybody know what's going on?
I think
Sure.
Darren should open the bag first.
Oh, I was gonna save that for the end, but okay. I mean, we can do that because the grand announcement is more important. So yeah, I'm up for that.
Yeah, let's do the mystery bag here.
Okay. And for the record, it is still stapled. I have not opened it.
The question
So
I have for you, Darren, is: was it tough to not open it when you got it?
Not really. Because I knew the show started at 8 and I didn't get home till after 6 and I just wanted to get food at that point.
And some of us, have impulse control.
Hey, I've been able to wait a week with mystery bags and not open them. So I actually did that with Anime Boston this year because I opened them up the Sunday after Anime Boston.
Well,
All right.
I just had to put them out of sight, out of mind.
I'm going to go in totally blind with this. So let's see what we got first. What the hell? I think that's
What in the world is that?
like a grapefruit or eggplant or something.
Is that like an eggplant plushie or something?
Something like that. That's
He's
just
happy.
wrong.
is that
Grimace?
I was gonna say, is there a tag on it that says what it's from?
Nope. All it says is Anime Palace plush toy.
That explains the Anime Palace. Okay. I have quite a few plushies from Anime Palace. That makes complete sense now.
All right. Next, a little
dinosaur.
Cute.
I think Evie's got like 3 or 4 plushies from Anime Palace. Little octopus thing.
Yep.
Hi, Maple. Nice tentacles.
Oh, wow. It's actually reversible.
Oh, wow.
That's interesting.
That's kind of weird. I'm not gonna lie, that's kind of disturbing.
I know, right? Let's see. So that's number 4. Let's see what else is in here.
It said it had 6 items, so.
Yep. So that was number 3. This is number 4.
Oh, that's cute.
That's cute.
Is that like a little hamster?
Yeah. Let's see what this next one is before we get to the actual figure. If I can grab it. Okay, so there may actually only be 5
says
in
it's
here.
Grimace. So the eggplant thing, he said it's Grimace. For those of us who are older and remember McDonald's mascots.
Yes.
God, yes.
Okay, so this is actually a little pin. This was so small, I almost didn't even recognize what it was.
Oh, that's cute. All I'm going to say is when the pair of you get around to watch Skip and Loafer, pandas are a thing.
Okay. So that's the 5 plushes. Now let's get to the other thing.
The big thing.
Yep. Oh, and how about that? It's from a show both Doug and I have watched. It's from the Quints.
Oh, okay.
Yes, they did have quite a few of these figures.
Looks like a decent quality figure.
Those are decent quality. I think we have 1 or 2 of them. We actually had it's not out anymore because I packed away quite a few of the figures. But I think we have our Ranga figure came from the same company.
But it's really the question of all of that stuff combined. Is it worth 50? Is the monetary value of those items more or less than the $50 spent on the bag?
Theoretically, yes. And the only reason I say that is because the plushies were selling for, I want to say, $5 or $10 a piece. So even if the small ones were like $10 a piece, that's $30 right there. And if they were $5, that's $15.
And that's like a $40 figure.
Yeah, that's like a $30 or $40 figure. And then the full-size plushie.
Full size plushie is, I think, about 20 or so. If I remember correctly on the prices, it's been a while since I've actually gone to the Anime Palace booth, but
well, nice to know that they frequent multiple conventions.
they're a staple at conventions up here like Anime Boston, AAC.
Oh God, I'm putting Ross's comment up on here. Ross 2, I seen Quince. Miku, best girl. No one likes Ichika. Terrible girl for what she did. I've not seen the show. I don't know what this means.
I have not finished the show, and I don't know what that means either.
I have an idea, and yes, I agree. Miku is the best girl of the series. Period. In the story. Aside from that, like I said, I vaguely know which one, what he's referencing, even though I didn't see season 2.
And we want to thank Darren again for his review of Animazement. It's weird to sit here and let Darren just go and talk about a con that he's been to, especially where for the last year plus it's been Angela and me doing the con reviews.
Yep, pretty much. And I'm looking forward to GalaxyCon next. Well, it's going to be in July, and I'm curious as to how that's going to go this year. I know I'm not going to be able to go all 3 days, but I will definitely sneak around the dealer's room at least once, because if I'm not mistaken, a couple of years ago, that's when a vendor had 3 or so Rias figures, and I didn't have a credit card or any extra cash on me at the time, because they had them at really good prices, or I would have definitely bought them.
Do you know the dates of that one, in case any of our listeners are interested in going?
Raleigh SuperCon. Hold on a second.
Well,
yeah, it's always like one of the last weekends in July. So give me a moment here, because I got to pull this up on my phone and not my tablet. And I know I've been getting emails from them practically every single day. Oh, and for the octopus plushie, basically, all you got to do is switch the chain out. All you do is push the stuffing in it from one side to the other, depending on your mood, I guess. So how the orange side was buried in it, you push it in the yellow side, and the orange side fills up with stuffing, and the yellow side becomes tucked away, and then all you got to do is switch the chain to the other side.
Oh, that's cool.
Okay, July 27th through the 30th.
So anybody who's interested in going out to Raleigh SuperCon and maybe meeting Darren, that's the dates to go out there and see if you can hunt him down.
Yep. Let's see. Event hours 2 p.m. to 12 a.m. on Thursday, 10 a.m. to 2 a.m. on Friday and Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. on Sunday. And the exhibition hall is open till 8 o'clock every single day except Sunday, which is 6 o'clock.
Nice.
Yeah.
And continuing with the convention talk, big announcement. We are proud to announce that we are going to be providing a special guest for Rail City Fan Fest in St. Albans, Vermont. This has been in the works for a while. We've been hinting at it for quite a bit. Months and months.
And Doug has almost spoiled it before it was confirmed on more than one occasion.
Yeah, but we can proudly announce that Christy Rothrock will be in attendance for Rail City Fan Fest. So our friend Christy is going to be coming up. We are proud to bring her to her first ever Vermont convention. For those of you who may or may not be familiar with her work, she has voiced such characters as Ren, Shibusawa in After School Dice Club, which was a show I've talked about quite a bit. Some additional voices in shows like Bofuri, Cautious Hero, Certain Magical Index. She was Momo in Shiho School Road.
But
Combatants.
let's be real. One of your favorites is Ilulu from Dragon Maid.
Ilulu from Dragon Maid and Rose from Combatants Will Be Dispatched. She had some additional voices in everybody's favorite anime to Dis Conception. She was in Dr. Stone as Minami Hokotuzai. She also was in How Not to Summon a Demon Lord as Edelgard. She was Rose in Kimono Michi Rise Up. The maid I hired recently is Mysterious as Natsume Nakashiyama.
To answer your question, Ross, yes, she is the one from the Halloween stream.
Yes.
And Ross also says Ilulu and Kana are best girls.
Kana was best girl season 1, Ilulu best girl overall after season 2 came out.
I still like Lucula.
Well, of course you do. But I will say that the fight scene, like for a studio that had the tragedy that it had, and them to come back with Dragon Maid season 2, and that like epic fight scene between Ilulu and Toru to start episode 1 of season 2, that to me just felt like a statement to the world of saying, we're down but we're not out. And I was so excited to see that, and I am so excited that we are bringing Christy up to Rail City. It is the first time that we've been able to actually provide a guest for a convention, courtesy of the podcast, and it's going to be a lot of fun. You got to come out. Casey Fox is going to be there with some exclusive Rail City art prints commemorating the event, including something that she is going to be working on involving Ilulu and our mascot. So there's going to be some fun stuff going on. You've got to come up to Vermont to Rail City Fan Fest in June. The dates for that are going to be June 24th and 25th. Also, our friends from Talking with the Dead are going to be there. Nerd Urbanity is going to be there. Bill Diamond is going to be there, which I know I've talked about him in the past. Angela, I don't think you've gotten a chance to meet Bill, because I think the time that we went to NECC, he was not there when he normally is. But he's the puppeteer.
No.
He's made puppets for Fraggle Rock. He's made puppets for Muppets. He's done a ton of stuff. Also, our friends from the Montreal X-Men are going to be there as well. The 501st Green Mountain Squad will be there. R2 Builders Club. So if you remember the R2D2 that was at Vermont Sci-Fi and Fantasy Expo, they will be there as well. So a lot of good stuff. And HH says, "Oh crap, that's a great way to advertise VAs with a status screen as if it's another world isekai trope." No, the Isekai Trope Award goes to Anime for their banner at Anime Boston saying I was reincarnated as Anime's mascot. I am so sad that I'm going to miss out on Anime this year, but I don't think there's any way feasible with my new job that I'm going to be able to make any cons after PuchiCon. So I think I only have 2 definite cons the rest of this year.
Depending on a great many things, same. My last con of the year is going to be PAX Unplugged.
It's still up in the air for me. We will find out. Because generally I can't go to conventions very far outside of my area for the simple fact I have too much work to do. And scheduling to get all my work done for an out of state convention is very difficult.
That is fair. Doug, since you will be in Pennsylvania by then, if you can get to Philly Convention Center for PAX Unplugged, even if it's just for a day, I highly recommend it.
I would love to. Like I said, that's all going to depend on work schedule. And if it falls on a weekend that I am on call, I will not be able to go for obvious reasons because the call could come at any time.
Yep.
If it falls on a weekend where I have a Friday off, Saturday off, or Sunday off, because my new schedule is going to be 6 days on, 2 days off, so my weekends are going to rotate throughout the weeks, which is one reason why come July you will start seeing less of me on the show and more of Angela and Darren taking the reins, which I know they're going to do a fantastic job. Angela might crack the whip and keep Darren awake for shows.
Pretty much. She's gonna have to do something to either keep me awake or keep me from shaking her head the whole show.
Or it'll be, some shows Darren just goes on a ramble like tonight. Or
that would probably require me being up to date on anime, which I am not.
Not necessarily. I mean, Trash Taste has proven it's not necessary.
I mean, I know we were Trash Taste before Trash Taste was a thing, but
I mean, we could just plan accordingly and basically pick old animes and do in-depth analysis and nonsense.
When do we actually plan shows? I thought everything was on a wing and a prayer.
Doug occasionally plans things. You and I just kind of let the chat take over.
And speaking of up to date on shows, and I came to the realization about one of the shows that I enjoy, and like I said, Smartphone is a guilty pleasure show of mine, and the more I watch it, the more I realize how ridiculous the concept of the show is. Now, don't get me wrong, I love the fact that they have a storyline that has finally developed. It took until season 2 to really get into a good storyline, but they are actually working towards a goal. But
yeah, for him to have a harem.
No, beyond that. The issue, the thing that I'm questioning is the harem that he is acquiring, and I don't want to give too much away for those of you who are planning to watch it and haven't seen season 2 yet. But at the end of season 1, and Darren, did you see the first season?
Yes.
You know how he had 4 engagements.
Yep.
Well, think about this. 2 of the women he was engaged to were sisters.
Okay.
In season 2, I don't remember how many episodes in I am, but I think he's gotten 2 more girls that he has become engaged to. One is the princess of another country, and one is the cousin to the princess he's already engaged to. So now you have cousins. So he's got 2 different sets of family that he is engaged to.
Oh my god, why? Why do you do this?
Because isekai harems.
I suppose you guys like isekai. I suppose you guys like isekai the way I like shonen. It's just a thing. It happens.
I enjoy the lighthearted, mindless, fun shows, stuff that I can sit back and just watch. And like I said, with Smartphone, it's one of those shows that I know I can go back and be entertained. even if it's the stupidest crap, it's still entertaining to me for whatever reason.
You know what? And John, we've got some comments in the chat. Doug, does the train have Wi-Fi? You could live stream from the trains. Ross saying he's gonna miss an episode due to going to
family
Tennessee
reunion.
for a family reunion.
Stop by North Carolina if you want.
Yeah, Ross, you are in a position where you could stop and meet Darren in person. And John saying that tomorrow with the, I use the term loosely, holiday, is going to be watching Demon Slayer Season 3. At some point, I need to go back and finish Demon Slayer. I'm enjoying it. It's just, I'm not caught up.
Same here.
And Ross, the show you will be missing, we will be welcoming Pop Cult Anime Convention. It'll be fun to talk with them. So more convention talk, learning more about a convention that's been around for a while, but I have never had the opportunity to attend.
Not that long. It's a newer convention.
Well, I've seen. I remember hearing about Pop Cult back in like the late teens.
2018 might have been 2017 or 18 might have been year one. But now I'm actually going to look that up because I know it's only a few years old.
Because I know that usually when it was happening, I was stuck working.
This year is this year is year 5.
So year 5, not counting pandemic?
Was 2018. It just says fit. It just says the 5th annual will be this year. So if we're not counting pandemic, that would put it at 2016. Which sounds about right.
Yeah. And we started in 2014. Because I knew I'd heard it not long after I started the show. Because I kind of kept an ear out for all the cons and tried to make what I could, but unfortunately that was one I was never able to get the scheduling right. Pop Cult Anime Con for us is a convention that goes on in is it still in Framingham, Mass?
No, it's in.
That's where they started.
They started in Framingham. Post the hotel went under renovations, and they've been in Waltham. This year they're in Waltham, and I think they've been there for a couple of years.
But it will be fun to learn more about this convention and hopefully be able to attract the interest of some of our viewers and listeners that are in that area. I know next week we have an open show as well. I am talking to a couple of people about the potential of being guests. I'm waiting to hear back on an answer from somebody I talked to at Anime Boston about coming on the show, and they have to check their schedule to see if that would be an option. So we may have a guest next week. We may not. If not, we'll have more fun ramblings. Maybe we'll just give Darren a topic and just tell him to go at it. Maybe we'll just give Angela a topic and have her just have free reign. She take the reins off and be like, all right, Angela, isekai. You just never know with us. We do like poking fun at each other about our likes and dislikes.
Yep. I mean, granted, as the season is starting to get closer to end. We could do a mid-season review.
That would require us to actually be up to date on shows, though.
I'm mostly up. I'm up to date on a few.
I think I'm 1 or 2 episodes behind on the Cafe Terrace. I think, caught up on One Hit Kill Sister. I am caught up on Konosuba. I'm caught up on Smartphone and Kuma Bear. And I am a few episodes behind on Summoned into Another World for a second time.
Ross is saying, going back to Smartphone, I'm feeling down about the show so far in the dub that he has not gotten Armin, the little sister fox girl, as his fiance, so he has no Beast Girl.
Oh, I know who he's talking about. I know who he's talking about. In season 1, Darren, remember when Toya had helped that little fox girl, and her older sister was the representative of a neighboring country?
Yes.
That's who Ross is talking about. It's the little fox girl that he helped out.
NHH is saying they follow the manga, so who was the fox girl in Smartphone? I feel like we just answered that. I don't know if how close the anime is to the manga, so I couldn't begin to comment. But yeah, I will say.
Here we go. Here's a picture. Leave it to me to do a quick search and find it.
Of course.
So that was the little fox girl. For those of you who were curious as to who the fox girl was. Ross, that's kind of an interesting thought there. Ross is saying, like, if you have an isekai harem, have one girl of each race at least.
That's not always how that works.
He doesn't. There's an elf girl in there, then she's not even part of the harem. She just kind of orders him around. Or not, she's not elf, she's a fairy. And then you have all the androids that make him do obscene things to try to determine if he's worthy of being their master.
Nah, there's 4 shows that we're basically caught up on. And that's pretty much it.
And HH, as a follow-up, says, thanks, that was just 2 chapters in the manga, and 15 releases later hasn't reappeared.
That makes sense. And Ross says, no, Doug, the fairy elf girl is part of the harem.
Is she? He's never formally said that, that she was a part of it, but that could come later. Could be spoilers. I think they hinted at the end of season 1 that Toya does end up with like 9 wives, so.
Just why?
Could you handle 9 partners, Angela?
No. But then again,
I don't think many people could.
But then again, could people handle me?
I like Darren's little
I wouldn't know.
I'll tell you this
On
much,
any
Darren. She does have the she is more reserved on the show than she is off the show.
Oh, I know. I can tell.
But I know that we started the show saying that we were going to do a look back, and I wasn't expecting Darren's review to take an hour plus and everything that's been going on, but we can take a few minutes to look back at AZR since switching to YouTube. Ross says I can handle 2, but after that, I don't want to die.
See, on that, this might be an interesting topic to get into. I'd actually have to research this, but off the cuff, something for the future. Ethical non-monogamy in anime might not be a bad rabbit hole to go down.
Okay. HH clarifies a little bit, saying he is supposed to have 9 official wives, but 12 partners total, according to the light novel.
Fair.
And I know from a lot of the animes that I've watched that involve kings, queens, rulers, nobles, things like that, it's not uncommon for a king to take on multiple partners, whether it be for political reasons, romantic reasons, whatever the case may be. It's not uncommon for them to have concubines and things of that nature. To us here, it just still seems weird.
That's also kind of a high fantasy thing in general, not exclusive to anime. And HH is giving Darren's review props, saying that it was a lot of fun.
I think Darren did a good job, especially where
Agreed.
he doesn't go to as many conventions as Angela and I have been able to go to in the past few years. Granted, I'm excessive.
And on top of that, the fact that I turned my camera on for the first time in God knows how long.
I know, right?
And there was one thing that you didn't. There was one thing you hadn't shown yet. I had asked Darren, Darren being at a convention was asking us if there's anything that we were looking for figure-wise or stuff like that, which Angela's not big into collecting figures, and I'll be honest, there hasn't been much in the figure world that has been like, I need that. Plus, with moving, I'm like, I don't think I need to go and purchase another figure right now. Granted, at Rail City, that may change, and I might walk away, especially if Nerd Urbanity is there with more anime figures like, Yami here. But having Bryn April there and knowing that I am the diehard Show by Rock fan, I had to get Cyan's autograph.
And
you know what, though? It's not on the book.
That just means that special is when I get to meet her in person. Because I also have Retsure's autograph from Caitlin Glass, but I didn't have the book yet. So that's 2 more that I can get on the book the next time that I see them.
Fair.
And I know, Darren, you said it was kind of weird to go and meet the voice actors that we've had on the show.
Yes, it was. The fact that they somewhat recognized, while they didn't really recognize me, and I did a fairly poor job of introducing myself, I more or less told them I'm the co-host that never turns his camera on.
But he said that Darren told us that he should have introduced himself as Darren is dead.
Yep. Because that's what my screen name 9 times out of 10 reflects.
And Ross, you are correct. Ritere was the dog with glasses. The one that kind of was like had the hots for Cyan. Or not so much the hots, but was infatuated with Cyan, we should say. And so a big shout out to Bryn for the autograph, and very thankful. One of these days we will meet Bryn in person. Or I should say, one of these days I will meet Bryn in person.
Yep.
Darren beat me to it. Darren also beat. Darren, my wife said that she was mad at you because you got to meet Danny Chambers before she did. She will see Danny at AAC in October.
Okay.
It
Well, is that a convention she's going to be vending or just attending?
She is going to try to vend.
Okay, because I
Did
was
she
going
not?
to tell her if she has time to go to some of Danny's panels, which I doubt she will, but if she's unable to vend and just go as an attendee, definitely check out some of Danny's panels. I think she'll have a good time.
Did she not? Did she not? Get a table already?
I think table applications open up early June.
And HH. Going back to our previous line of conversation about non-monogamous relationships. Go for Japanese culture. That's a much more recent convention than it is for Western cultures. Remember, Japan was officially an imperialist culture until the turn of the 20th century. And you know what? I wonder if, now you've got me wondering if that's part and parcel with religion.
And then HH also continues with a new name that Darren should put up instead of Darren is dead.
Darren of the Dead.
Darren of the Dead.
Oh, come on. High School of the Dead? Which,
Because
like I said, it was mentioned at this convention, so that's good.
Christianity is not a very big thing in Japan and did not get introduced until much later. Thank you for making me think, HH. I'm being serious, actually. That's a very interesting rabbit hole, and I do love deep diving into Japanese culture and things.
And Darren just sent me a message. CSX is apparently hiring train conductors as well. Problem is, I have applied for CSX when I was younger 4 times, and to get a job with them, you have to go to a special class. It was like $25 for the class, and you had to sit through an introduction, and then you had to take the $25 was to take the tests, which was a color aptitude test, which was look at the dots and write down the number you see in there because it was different color dots to test for color blindness, and a personality test. Every time I took it, I would always call and I would get the response of, we are sorry, but you don't have the personality we're looking for. So I stopped trying with CSX. I guess the reason is because I'm supposed to be working for the Norfolk Southern Railroad.
Yep.
And HH says, as far as religion goes, the Japanese are more deists.
Not wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Right, we took an interesting turn with this.
I
didn't expect to get that deep talking about the weirdness of the relationships of one show.
You know what, though? I probably... If we really wanted to, I could probably do a deep dive onto that.
Possibly next week we could see what Ange turns up on that.
And then to address Ross's comment about relationships, Ross, if communication is everything, and 9 times out of 10, a good, healthy communication means there is no drama and nobody gets hurt.
Don't want to die early. That's funny.
That's why Darren is still single.
The good die young.
But then or you get lying, or you get problems, and then that leads to, my entire existence.
Good.
No, on a serious note, finding out when you're almost 40 that everything you thought about yourself was proven wrong due to genetic tests as a result of getting genetic test results back. That made for a very interesting rabbit hole to go down.
I could just imagine.
But hey,
I think that's why I'm afraid to do that.
uh,
I should, knowing that I'm adopted and I know
that's
nothing
one
of
of
my history.
well, that's one of the reasons I did it in the first place, was because I got sick and tired of doctors yelling at me for not having a medical family history because closed adoption in the 80s. Turns out that the rabbit hole led to me getting my pre-adoption birth certificate. My biological mother, born in Puerto Rico. I was raised Italian Irish. But hey,
But
it
we've
is what
got
it is.
about 8 minutes left of the show tonight, and
The
we
comment,
never looked back at AZR since switching to YouTube, which was about a year and a half ago, or actually almost 2 years ago.
Yep. All because we got fed up with Blog Talk for failing on us last minute, I believe.
It was a big number of things that we decided to leave Blog Talk, not seeing the growth that we were hoping for because of people needing to subscribe to Blog Talk, and there's so many subscription channels out there. People kind of got fed up and didn't want to have to sign up for something else, especially if you were only going to use it maybe once a week. And I can understand that.
Yep.
agreed.
So, and I also feel like making the jump to YouTube has been hugely beneficial because it opened up a lot of avenues for us.
Yep.
Going from an audio only to adding video, we now were able to have the opportunity to showcase our guests more.
Yep.
Like having cosplayers on, having them be in costume to show off, the work that they've done and stuff. I know, Angela, you've had fun talking with the voice actors and getting to like see them, even though it's not in person, but face to face via the cameras.
Yeah, no, it's been like just from the first time I was on the show, it's been just kind of looking back, it's been a lot of fun. Like, I've seen the growth. I've seen, like, the first few episodes I did, the chat was not nearly this interactive.
It was in the beginning, back when we were on Hazy, just because it was a lot easier to come in and start chatting. I would know because I was the chief distractor back then instead of Ross and Mario.
And then, like we said, with Blog Talk, things kind of died down, and I gave Blog Talk quite a while, probably a lot longer than I should have. But it was, when I chose Blog Talk, it was a platform I knew because I'd used it in the past with liveparanormal.com when I was co-hosting on some shows on that, and because of having some shows of my own that I did. And then when we weren't seeing the growth, that's when I made the decision of, okay, let's go YouTube, let's add video. I felt like we gave the most respectful send off to Blog Talk we could by having one of our biggest shows guest wise, where we had our show by Rock Mashimai Rush special as our last show, and we simuldubbed it on, or not simuldubbed, but simultaneously broadcasted on our YouTube channel as well.
And you know, seeing the growth not only on YouTube, but uploading the audio to other platforms as well and seeing the growth there. Actually, I was just looking at this the other day when I was putting up the newer episodes. Come on, now you're gonna be slow and not load for me. There we go, analytics. But at one point, we actually have a global audience on the audio platforms, and our US audience is less than 90%.
That's pretty cool.
89% to be exact,
Which means
which is pretty cool. And just new countries keep getting, like, we have, like, it's less than 1%, but we have people who have listened to us from a lot of different places. Bulgaria, I think, is a new one. Honduras, I didn't notice before. Canada, Puerto Rico is listed as a separate country, and so on and so forth.
So it's nice to know people are noticing us. And I know one of our biggest shows, and I have to go back through and actually take a look here.
And on the audio audio analytics, the God's Will episode actually is the one that has the most plays.
Awesome.
And then the one immediately after that, the immediate next one, is an open chat from November of last year.
And I think our first ever show when we got onto YouTube exclusively actually was Burn April.
Oh, wow.
And since then, that show has 836 views.
Wow. Almost 1,000. That's impressive.
Yeah, and
that is one of our highest viewed live shows since we started putting them up.
And we've seen the growth. And I've seen, like, how energetic the chat gets. Case in point, Ross and HH are still going back and forth about rabbit holes and whatnot.
And Ross is claiming to be more hyper than I was back in the day. I can contest that.
Other notable shows since we went live, our Dragon Maid special has 303 views from last year. Macy Ann Johnson at 139 views. Looking to see what else. Cosplayer Lainey Maloney had 92 views, which is really good for a cosplayer. That really was not all that well known. The Show by Rock Masha Maresh English dub special that I did reviewing after I binged all 12 episodes in one sitting. I then did a review a year ago. That's got 93 reviews on it, and that has no guests at all.
And that's something. Like,
our live stream from PoochieCon, I'm trying to remember which one this is. That was in Pennsylvania. So day one PoochieCon live stream, 161 views, which that's remarkable for almost 2.5 hour live stream from a convention.
Ross, I got the Alice in Wonderland reference. I just didn't get that far. And
PoochieCon, New Jersey, Angela, 230 views from day one coverage.
Wow.
And Josie McCoy, 229 views.
I am not surprised.
He was an awesome guest. I feel
Yes,
bad that things that like scheduling wise, we weren't able to get him on around the Super Bowl for obvious reasons, just because things were crazy. But I have to reach out to him again.
but he'd be another, like, as much as I've been good about that. Genshin is kind of one of those games, not really my thing. I don't do the whole gotcha game thing. But I will say, like, all the Genshin voice actors we've had, they have been fantastic.
Oh yeah,
And, I maintain I'm to this day surprised with Sean Chip the Sean Chiplock going into as much detail as he did.
oh yeah. Ross, have a good night. Before you go, I do want to let you know if you're interested in the press conferences we had at Anime Boston. We have the first 4 are uploaded, 2 more that are in the edit room getting ready to be uploaded. So definitely keep an eye out. We have the first 4 interviews, and that includes Erica Harlacher, who was the voice of Venti, speaking of Genshin Impact. Also, Christine Cabanos, Dante Bosco interview, and of course, our press interview with Emmy Lowe. Which means, Darren, you're going to have to wait a little bit longer to get your Ash Ketchum interview.
I don't think so. Once we go off air, I'll explain why.
Fair enough.
I did ask the questions that you sent.
Awesome.
We
asked the questions. I think Angela asked one, and I asked a couple.
Yep, I did know that, Ross.
Now the question
Genshin has an anime now.
The question is, are you going to watch it? And are they going to actually get depending on the characters, are they going to get the same voice actors to voice them in the anime, not just the video game?
I'll say this. If it's the same cast, I'll probably give it a shot. If it is not, I probably won't on principle.
Yeah, I can understand that. If it's the same cast, I want to support the wonderful men and women who have joined us to talk about Genshin and their careers.
Exactly. But if it's a completely different cast, then I feel like that's a disservice to all of the fans.
On that note, it is 10 o'clock Eastern here. We want to wish everybody a wonderful night. Enjoy your holiday weekend here in the U.S. if you have tomorrow off. Be responsible. Be safe if you have to work. Thank you for the service that you provide. Thank you to the men and women of the military, all the first responders, for all the work that you do to help keep us safe. Definitely.
I have a lot of military. I have a lot of military in my family, so I'm going to give a shout out to my sister, who is active duty Navy, my cousin, who is an active duty Marine. I have friends in the National Guard who are currently active duty, one of whom is out of the country.
I have one of my customers is active duty. He recently got back from deployment in the Middle East. I think he's on a 4-month rotation. And I have 2 or 3 others of my customers that are either military or former military. And my grandpa was in the Merchant Marines back when they existed back in the day. And my cousin is in the Army, or was in the Army, and is now in the National Guard.
Both of my grandparents were in World War II in different branches.
And my father was military. I believe my mother was military as well. That's how they met.
We'll
I know my
see.
wife's side of the family has a lot of military as well, so
We'll see you guys next week.
have a wonderful weekend. Keep watching anime, and until next week, this has been Animazing Radio right here on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.